Most people watched this interview and moved on. Nobody caught what actually happened when Kimmel exposed the biggest secret on air. Trump went ballistic the instant the folder opened. His fist slammed the desk, so hard the microphone jumped. His face flushed deep red as he half rose from the chair, voice rising into a roar that filled the studio before cracking at the edges. Jimmy Kimmel didn't flinch. He simply let the moment breathe. But to truly understand how a single exposure of Trump's biggest secret brought the former president to this breaking point, we have to move between two timelines at once. The live tension unfolding in real time on stage and the hidden preparations, patterns, and buried history that made this confrontation inevitable. You could feel the shift in the studio atmosphere the moment the lights hit their peak intensity. Every fixture had been pushed 2 stops brighter, carving sharp shadows that left nothing in soft focus. Jimmy Kimmel sat centered, his posture carrying the quiet confidence of someone who had studied the terrain for years. The crew sensed it too, a floor director adjusting his headset with extra care, camera operators double-checking frames, production assistants holding position with unusual stillness. The air felt thick, compressed, as if the entire room understood something significant was about to break open. In the days leading up to the broadcast, private meetings had taken place in quiet offices. Researchers pored over documents. Timelines were cross-checked against public records and private leaks. Witnesses were prepped not with scripts but with a simple instruction to speak their truth. Kimmel reviewed every layer personally, his team building redundancy, while hoping the core evidence would suffice. Meanwhile, Trump's inner circle operated under the assumption that another appearance would follow the familiar pattern: noise, dominance, deflection. Trump's entrance pulled both timelines together in the present. He walked onto the stage with heavy, claiming strides, each step asserting ownership of the space. He paused deliberately at the edge of the desk area, adjusting his tie and jacket cuffs with theatrical slowness, drawing out the moment. Then he settled into the chair, spreading wide, legs planted, arms claiming maximum territory. His eyes locked on Kimmel with flat superiority. "Jimmy, this show has been dying for years. Without me, you've got nothing but low ratings and desperate attempts to stay relevant. I bring the energy. I bring the wins. People come here for winners, and here I am." The dominance barrage rolled out in waves. Trump hit ratings, relevance, personal attacks on Kimmel's career, claims of superior power, and outright dismissal of any challenge as the work of bitter losers. He filled the studio with booming voice and relentless momentum. Kimmel stayed completely silent, absorbing every word without reaction. The silence stretched, growing heavier, turning Trump's volume against him. You could feel the audience leaning in. A woman in the front row, gripping her armrest until her knuckles showed white, a man beside her pressing fingertips to his lips, another viewer in the back row stopping mid-breath as the quiet became its own force. Back in the preparation timeline, every piece of evidence had been verified multiple times. The biggest secret wasn't a single document, but an entire architecture concealment that held for years. Patterns of behavior, medical records, travel logs, and silenced voices that all pointed to the same hidden reality. Kimmel's team knew that exposing it live would be explosive. They prepared for every possible reaction. Then Kimmel leaned forward. His voice dropped lower, intimate yet commanding, the kind of tone that felt like a conversation between two people who both knew the stakes. "You've had your 5 minutes. Now let's find out why you're terrified of one question." The first layer hit the screen in the present. An old clip of Trump dismissing something years ago as just a joke or harmless banter. Kimmel reframed it with devastating calm, tying it directly to the secret that had just gone viral in teaser form. Trump denied it instantly, voice rising. Kimmel countered by highlighting exact context and consequences. The audience drew a sharp collective breath. Silence followed. Meanwhile, in the weeks before the show, researchers had uncovered the first threads of the secret through cross-referenced public absences and private reports. Those threads led to the folder now sitting between the two men. Kimmel reached under the desk slowly, the movement deliberate and unhurried. He placed the thick folder on the surface. Official documents emerged: hospital records, intake forms, dates, stamps, correspondences. Trump's hand shot forward. Kimmel's palm came down first, flat and firm. The camera caught the tremor running up Trump's arm. Trump denied everything, voice booming. Kimmel laid out the chain calmly. Individual audience reactions rippled. One woman covered her mouth, another man dropping his head into his hands. Silence. Bridge to the next. The preparation timeline showed how the timeline evidence had been assembled like a forensic map. Dates refused to lie. The LED screen came alive with the full timeline. Public appearances, private travel, unexplained gaps, all connected in clean, undeniable patterns. Trump tried to talk over it, voice growing louder. Kimmel slowed down further, letting each alignment land. The visual refused to bend. In the hidden history, those gaps had been noticed by insiders who could no longer stay silent. The audio played next. Trump's own raw, unguarded voice from backstage and private settings, a short phrase that tore through constructed narrative. Forensic verification appeared on screen. Trump called it fake, edited, illegal. Kimmel showed the chain of custody. The weight in the studio deepened. The witnesses stepped forward. The first, a former staffer who carried out specific procedural tasks tied to the secret, spoke with controlled resolve. I rehearsed walking away 6 times in the parking garage before I came inside, she said, voice shaking but clear. Trump attacked her fiercely, calling her bitter and paid off. She absorbed it, standing still. Her closing line cut deep. Fear doesn't age well. It turns into something heavier, and I'm done carrying it. The second witness, from the inner circle bound by NDA, approached with visible emotional strain. Her throat worked before words came. Fingers gripped each other until colorless. A tear fell unwiped. Trump shouted betrayal to the family. She looked at him and delivered a line that would echo, "They didn't buy my silence. They rented it, and the lease just expired." The audience broke in slow, deliberate waves. One person stood. Others joined. Raw, purposeful clapping built. Hands coming together because words were no longer enough. It wasn't wild cheering. It was truth stepping into the light. The final layer sealed it. Foreign clinic records under alias. Screen split, domestic and international side by side. Alignment undeniable. Trump's denials fractured into pure rage. This wasn't scattered coincidence. This was inventory. Alternating back to the live moment, Trump went ballistic. His breathing turned ragged and audible, chest heaving. Hands slammed the desk, then gripped the armrests with white knuckles. Posture collapsed inward as the commanding presence shrank. Voice cracked and rose in pitch. Words tumbling into accusations of ambush and conspiracy. Eyes darted wildly. Jaw clenched and worked side to side. Sweat poured down his face, wiped frantically with trembling sleeves. Neck muscles corded. Shoulders hunched. One leg bounced uncontrollably. The physical breakdown accumulated rapidly. Verbal collapse followed. Confident denial into furious accusations. Procedural complaints, hollow bravado, then fragmented outbursts. Finally, his mouth opened wide. The roar faded into strained silence. Kimmel held the space. The documents are on the table. The timeline is on the screen. The witnesses spoke. Your move. You walked in to control this room. Now answer it. The inventory doesn't lie. Even when every effort was made to keep it buried. In the preparation timeline, the team had anticipated the ballistic reaction. They had backup visuals ready, but didn't need them. The evidence stood on its own. Back in the aftermath of the live broadcast, chaos unfolded in human detail. A camera operator kept rolling on the empty chair long after Trump stormed off, unable to look away. A floor director stood with headset half off, staring at monitors. Production staff exchanged stunned looks while one typed frantic, garbled messages. Trump moved through the backstage corridor like a man fleeing a burning building. Kimmel walked the opposite way in calm silence. The contrast defined the night. Digital explosion followed. The exposure of the biggest secret fragmented into over a dozen clips, each spreading independently. News networks cut in with breaking coverage. Anchors let the word inventory linger in extended segments. Trump's rage posts escalated. Longer, angrier, capitals multiplying. Each denial placed beside the evidence it denied. Public conversation shifted from politics to the psychology of exposure. People described the exact moment Trump went ballistic as a turning point in how they viewed constructed power. Around 2:30 a.m., anonymous verification arrived from a medical professional connected to the foreign records. Clinical, devastating, on verified letterhead. Silence was no longer ethical. Networks confirmed it. In the weeks and months that followed, additional layers continued to surface. Extended interviews with audience members revealed profound shifts in perception. Production crews shared control room stories of the sudden hush when Trump's voice broke. Viewers rewatched the full broadcast, catching new microexpressions and details. Digital forensics tracked organic and amplified spread across platforms and borders. International coverage highlighted universal themes of accountability. Further testimonies trickled out, reinforcing the inventory without needing new shocks. Trump's later appearances showed tighter control and visible adjustments. Kimmel's show saw sustained engagement as people returned to study the confrontation. The story burned slow, Power projects strength through noise and dominance. Truth needs no performance. It simply reveals the inventory when the moment arrives. Once exposed, that inventory stands, complete, undeniable, and impossible to unsee. If this changed how you see the inventory behind performance, subscribe right now and turn on notifications. The next confrontation is already building. And once you see what's coming, you'll understand why silence is always louder than power.